In our previous class of Introduction to Computer Programming with Java, we have discussed or we have exhibited a practical aspect of how we can be able to implement if-else ladder statement and then switch case statements. And in today's class, we are going to look about control structure in Java programming, that is loop. And in this loop, we are going to concentrate on these three types of loops. That's we have for loops, we have while loop, and we have do while loop. And we know in our for loops is that we are going to iterate if the number of iteration is known, while is in while loop we can iterate if we doesn't know the number of iteration. And in do while loop, no matter what, a block of code need to be executed at first before any other iteration. That's what we are going to exhibit in today's class of Java programming. In a for loop, this execute or we use the for loop when the number of iteration is already known. So that is before entering the loop. That's what we are going to do in the for loop. And then as usual, we come to our package explorer, select the source, right click on the source, we move to new and then class. So from this class, we are going to give it a for loop as the name of the class. We want our main method to be included, then finished. So we are coming here in order to declare our integer or our data type. But if for this case we have two or we have one variables, and that variable we want to have it inside, like we can declare it outside and then use it inside. But for this purpose, we want everything to be within the for loop. Like the syntax for the for loop, we need to remember that is what? After every declaration of after we have declared our main method, the class and whatsoever. So we have for, then we have the data type, variables, and then the conditions. Then we now print out the statement. So in this scenario, we want to have like for, then we are going to declare I as an integer. I should be integer and is going to contain 0 or 1, anyone. If you want to start your counting from 1, fine, we can start from 1. Then we end this statement within same line. We have where we want to give a condition if that I is still less than or equals to 5 or less than or equals to certain number, then it will continue to iterate until that conditions are met. So if like our integer I is equals to 1 or equals to 0, then our I should continue to be iterated as far as the I is less than or equals to, let's say, 10. Then whenever it's now loop, maybe for the first time, it will now be able to to increment. So that is why we say these are used before entering the loop. So I plus, we know this is what? Increment or decrement operation, right? So that is why we said we have in our operators, we said we have bitwise operators. So this is one of the bitwise operators, plus. So it will now be incremented by 1. So we are done with this. So we open our curly braces and then have our statement now, system.out.print. We want everything to be in what? In different line. So it will now continue to iterate. It will continue to iterate, iteration, one iteration, two iteration whatsoever. So plus we are going to concatenate it with what? With this our integer value, right? Our I. So we are done, comma. So this is what we have for the what? For the for loop. We want to run this and see the effect. So we are waiting for the console. So you see now, let's move the console upward a little bit. So you see now it continues to iterate, right? 1 2 3 up to 10. So if you still want to count from maybe 0, from 0 you still see how you can count this. So 0 1 that and then 10. So this is how you go about what? About for loop. And we know our for loop, we use it when the number of iteration is known, because we know the number of iteration to be 10, and then before entering the loop, that is where we are going to use our for loop. So the next is what? We are going to loop our while loop, right? We know we have our for loop, we know what we have while loop, we have do while loop, and these are the three loops that we are going to look at in today's session. So the next one is the while loop, and we know in a while loop we use it as a common type of loop that we want to use when you don't know how many times you will now execute, or you need to execute your code. So now we are still coming back to our source. We have our new, we have class. So we have while loop, right? While loop. So same thing here. So this is our while loop file already created. So we are going to have the coding now. So, and in the while loop is that you are going to initialize the condition is that you declare initialize your variable, then you have your while condition, or while in bracket condition, then you have your statement. Then the increment or decrement is coming after what? After the statements. So after it prints, then it will go back and increment. So that's what it does here. So what we are going to do, we now initialize our I to be equals to 1 or whatsoever number you want it to take. So we have our while condition. If this is less than or equals to 10, right, equals to 10, so we now have our curly braces. Then we look at the statement, right? System.out.print line. So we have what? Still we want to have iteration what? Iteration, that's all, but we did not include a double quote. So we concatenate it with I, we end this statement, and then try to run this and see the effect again. Plus. So certainly this int, so there must be a problem somewhere. So we run this again and see. So you see we are having what? 10. So, and that is for the what? For the while loop. So what we are going to look next is the what? For the do while loop. And in the do while loop operation, this loop execute a block of code at least once. No matter what, it must be executed once, and then repeat the loop based on the condition that you specified in your code. So let's move and create our class. We create this class called do while loop. So I did not include the public this time around. So let me type the public static void main. We have string, then we have add. So what we are going to do here, we are going to do the same thing as we did that of our while loop, because this is an improved version of a while loop where you are going to initialize declare and initialize your variable called I as as 1. Then you have your you do, then you execute a statement now after the do. So system dot out dot print. So what are we printing? We are printing iteration. We did not include this, so we end this statement, and then we did not include what to print here, so we print I, that is the value of each or every I that we iterate. So, and this will will be incremented after that, will be incremented. Then you have your your while condition here, your while condition. So you see here, you are inserting the condition after the statement and the increment. So while I is less than or equals to 10. So you end this statement like this, and you are done. Let's run this and see the outcome. So this is it. So this is how you go about your your loop statement in though we also have nested loop in Java programming. So we are going to do next nested loop. We are going to look at the arrays, how we add values into into a collection of an array, and then how we manage our arrays and so on and so forth. Thank you for being with us.